Hello, welcome to the Mindset Shift. I am talking today about winter time. Now, you may or may not be in a climate where it is cold, but especially if you are, this will pertain to you. So, it is mid-December, and a lot of people are talking about New Year's resolutions. They're also talking about holiday shopping and buying things for people, selling things if you're an entrepreneur, getting clients, wrapping the year up. And sometimes we're not even thinking about anything because we're so busy doing all the things that who has time to think about them, let alone plan anything, let alone do anything. So what happens is there's this social conversation that's happening around us of like what's going on and what we should be doing. And it gets overwhelming. So we get stuck in the doing and the going and forget about being. Hi, we're human beings, not human doings. But the holiday season often triggers this human doing mode. So this has come up with a lot of clients recently about wanting to actually enjoy the holidays, wanting to be present with family. What are you actually, what are your values? And this is another place where people tend to get kind of mixed up is our values can shift during the holidays. So the things that we would normally prioritize in the way we would organize our life changes because of the plans that we make for the holiday season and the traditions that we have. A lot of people have fairly strong traditions this time of year. And so it's easy also to get into those being shoulds. Like, how many shoulds can we have? I would actually love for you to tell me what are some of your top shoulds of this season. So like, I should buy presents for all of these people, or I should be present at these holiday activities or functions, or I should be making presents instead of buying them because that shows I care more, or like whatever it is. Like what are those shoulds for you this season? And I don't mean to say that like sometimes the shoulds are things we actually want to do. So I had a client recently who we were looking at where she was feeling most stressed. And one of the places she was feeling stressed was around buying presents for family and just having to go shopping. And so everything she was telling me, like, I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this. What? Like, it gets really stressful. So we dug into that a little bit. Like, what about this is important to you? And exploring, understanding the reason why this needs to get done. And ultimately, she decided, no, I choose to do this because doing this is easier than dealing with any of the conversations that I would need to have with family about changing things up or doing anything different. And this is, that's important, but this is also meaningful to me in this way. Well, doing that, the tapping into a motivation, even if it's not like, I love this. This brings me so much joy and happiness and I want to do it all the time, right? Like, even if it's not that, once she actually went shopping after a conversation, she realized, no, I kind of dig this tradition. Like, it's not super exciting, but it was accepted and it became more of a choose to rather than a have to or a should. And the more you can understand your underlying motivation for doing it and make it into a choice instead of something that is put upon you, the less energy it's going to drain from you, right? Like, when you're choosing it consciously based on your acknowledged values, it is easier to do. And little secret, it also takes less time. So like in the back of your mind is like, I'm wasting time. I'm not getting things done. You're going to spiral and it's going to be harder to do with things. That is the way our brains work. It's like, oh, I need to put the brakes on. When you're like, no, I actually need to go faster. But when you're in that mode of unconscious, like go, 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 do, because of this perceived push, this have to, this limit amount of time and all of those things, you're going to resist. You're going to push back. And it's not a conscious thing. It's totally subconscious because brains. But that's what's going on. So if you can give yourself even just a little bit of time to check in and see what's really important. What do you love about the season? Why is this something you're choosing? Because here's the thing. Even if you feel like you're not choosing it, you're choosing it. Like, not choosing is still choosing. You're still doing something. So when you feel like it's not your choice, though, that's where it gets exhausting. I have another client who was talking about how she's intentionally created this time of year to give herself space. So she's not doing. So she's honoring her values of time with family and the traditions that they have and putting work to the side. And talking with other entrepreneurs who are like, how do you do that? How do you not be busy? She's like, well, I intentionally created that because I chose it. And I put my life together in that way. Like, we worked together to make it so that she was only saying yes to the things that fit within what she wanted to create and the way she wanted to experience life in this particular season. It's not forever, but there's this really big push that if I don't do these things, then I will lose clients and my business will fall apart. Then something will fall through the cracks and there will be a crisis. So I have to hustle and I have to go and I have to get stuff done. It actually makes it harder. Okay. I want to drill this home. It makes it harder. So that sense of I only have so much time and my time is limited, it fuels itself. It just expands. So taking that little bit of time to check in with what are your top values for this season, and what do you want to create? So I was talking about like visions, and you can use this for building into 2020, but when you're talking about visioning, it's not about where you're going and the plans and strategies. That's actually another section. Strategy is a different section. You have to start with the visioning part. And the visioning part is, how do I want to experience life? When I'm being my best self, what am I like? What are the descriptors of you when you're your best self? What are your top values that are most important? That not that if I don't do this, bad things will happen, but I feel really good inside when I am engaging in this way. When I am, and maybe it's some of your love languages, maybe gift giving is your love language. Maybe it's words of affirmation. Maybe it's quality time. So like tap into that. And also, the people that you care about, that you want to show love to, like what are their love languages? And have conversations, right? What would being present feel like? What would I do if I felt like that? And so building off of the way you want to be and the way you want to show up in the world and making conscious choices based off of that. But you can't get there if you're building within the box of, but all of these things have to happen. To put that to the side for a few minutes. Give yourself like 5-10 minutes to write out what's important. Write out that vision of who you want to be, how you want to show up, the impact that you want to have as you engage with people over the holidays, and then make some decisions about what you do that fit that. Because that's what will help you actually enjoy the holidays. Okay, so that's one piece. The other piece is knowing that this is a time of year that is designed, like naturally encouraging you to pull inward, not to build out, but to pull inward and take a look at the darker sides of yourself. And I don't mean like bad. I just mean like the challenges, the triggers, the pieces of you that you're being invited to engage in. So if you're like, that first part was enough, please don't give me more, then by all means, go ahead and stop now. But if you're like, no, I actually want to I want to be clear of how I'm building a foundation, not just of enjoying now, but in the future, into 2020, because that's where we're at right now. Then any of those triggers, right? Like around family are always, no matter how much you love them and enjoy them, they are always going to be some of your biggest triggers because they're the closest people to you and they reflect you more directly. So you see those things about you more clearly through them. It's easy to see it as them, but no one can push a button that you don't have. Okay? So if it's upsetting you, there's something that's resonating inside you. Something, either I could do that, or that it brings out your inner critic, or whatever. There's something going on for you if it bothers you. Because you know how like you're at like a family function and one person is like whatever, and the other person, and then you're like, but they said, and it was awful, and how could they? And they're like, whatever. So your button, right? If it's objective, it's not just based in this is true. Yeah, okay, something may have happened, but the way you interpreted it is about you. What it brought up for you is about you. So the cool thing about that is that when you own that experience, you have power over it. It's not about the other person. You actually can do something with that. It may be setting a boundary with somebody else and making a choice in terms of interaction. That may be what you decide to do. But recognizing that it's about you gives you the opportunity to grow. And that's actually what this season is all about. So spending time with family can be a helpful thing in terms of building foundations into the next year, because you're learning. This is an opportunity to learn about yourself, to look at some of the things that are hard and that are challenges for you, and see that it's an opportunity for growth, because it's not a challenge about them. It's a challenge about you and how you are experiencing the world, how you're engaging with the world. So use this time if you can at this point. I know it's a little bit late in the game to like create some of that space, but if you can, give yourself pockets of space even to do that reflection. Even if it's just like I said, 5-10 minutes of journaling each day to check in what came up and put it aside to look at later, like once all of the celebrations are done and you want to dig in and you're ready, you can give yourself more space to dig in. But even just to write it down, to notice it in the moment, what's going on, what am I thinking about this, how am I feeling about this, that will give you a great framework to grow into the next year. So I hope that you grab some nuggets from that. I know it's a lot. This is a year for that. So again, you're invited to take space to pull in right now. Winter season. A lot of mammals are hibernating. So pulling in and giving yourself. So if you feel that pull in, and sometimes it can feel like almost like a depression. If you think about depression is breaking it down: deep rest, deep rest, deep rest. This is a time, this is a season of deep rest. So when we push ourselves and we ignore who we want to be in it, and we get into that doing, going mode, it puts us into survival mode, which exacerbates our need for deep rest. And our brains know it. And it magnifies that sense of needing deep rest. It's like the little tap on the shoulder. If you ignore that tap, it's going to get like more like a whapping, right? So allow yourself to notice if you're feeling that feeling. Don't go, oh, that's bad. Don't feel like that. It's a sign that you need to give yourself a little bit more space and a little bit more time to process and check in with you about what's going on for you. So I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. If that's something you want support with, to do that, checking in, especially around the triggers and understanding the lens, now may not be the time where you want to sign up for a 90-minute consult call to go into understanding the perspective that you see the world through, which is what the energy assessment that I do is. It helps you see how you're showing up when life's going as it normally does for you and under stress. it could be a really good time to sign up for that and take the assessment, because when we can see your stress mode, like when you're in the stress mode and you do it, we can see your stress mode better. So we know what we're working on to make some shifts. Whether you decide to work with me afterwards or not, like that awareness can help take those notes that you're taking to the next level of understanding and also ability to engage, because you also get a framework that helps you do that. So you could take the assessment and we could do the debrief and consult call after the holidays when things are a little more calm. So if that's something that you are interested in, there will be a link in the notes for this video. Have a wonderful holiday season. Take in all that information, give yourself space, and I will see you on the next video.